this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show. And today I am doing the review of the AEW Dynamite premiere on TNT last night. Overall, I felt it was a good show. I did have some issues with the show, which I'll talk about here in this review. But overall, the show still to me felt like a very good show. Now, first off, let's get into the first match, which was Cody versus... Also, let me talk about something. This show was 2 hours. It didn't even feel like it had been 2 hours. And when a show's 2 hours and it doesn't feel like it's 2 hours, they're doing something right already right there. But, so it starts off with Cody versus Sammy Guevara. And this match was pretty good. And it ended with Cody getting a roll-up pin. Now, I like what they've been doing with Cody ever since All In last year, where Cody winning these matches not by spectacular means, but by smart means. Like when he beat Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship, he rolled him up like the Bulldog did to Bret Hart at SummerSlam 92. He had I think at Fight for the Fallen or Fyter Fest, one of them, he had a good roll-up pin to win in that match. And then last night, he rolled up Guevara to win. Now, after the match, Guevara was acting like he was going to attack Cody and all that, but he just put his hand out, shook his hand. But we find out later that might have been all an act. But, so Cody wins, moves on, but before he can move on, Jericho comes out and attacks him right after the match, after him and Guevara had the handshake. Comes out, attacks him, beats the crap out of him, and then walks up the ramp. It looks like he's about to cut a promo, but really doesn't. He's like, oh, you know, I'm Chris Jericho, and I'm the AEW champion. Pretty much all Jericho said. Also, if you saw his new shirt, he had, you know, his new catchphrase, a little bit of the bubbly. And I believe when he said he was champion, I think he said he was the champion. So next up, this was probably the weakest match of the card, which was MJF, which they're building to be one of the future stars of AEW, and against Brandon Cutler. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? You're going to put MJF in the ring against this guy that top notch is probably going to be a mid-card guy, maybe low mid-card guy. And you put him in there against MJF. The match wasn't that long. MJF won with an extended arm bar, which is something that Matt Riddle used a week ago to beat Killian Dane. But I just felt disappointed with the fact that, you know, first of all, MJF's in there against someone that's not worthy of being in the ring with him. Sorry, Brandon Cutler, you might be a great guy, you might be this and that, but you should not be in the ring with MJF right now. So MJF gets the win with that armbar. They spent a lot of time building up the tag team match and the title match, which was who to crown the first women's champion on this very first episode, which I'll get to that match here in a bit. They hyped that up. Then next up we had Pac versus Hangman Page, which Pac won. Again, clean. And he's supposed to be a heel. He's calling himself the Bastard Pac, and he's supposed to be the heel, and he beat Hangman clean, made him tap out. Unlike with Omega, but he made him tap out. Then they had more packages hyping up, you know, the big matches. They showed, you know, Jericho, who Jericho's partner was going to be when it was like how they became partners when it was him and Ortiz. I don't know, I think they showed that on the Countdown show, though. Which I'll talk about that on the Facebook Live episode I'm doing later, because I didn't do one yesterday, because usually I'm trying to do Wednesday ones, but, yeah, so, Pac wins clean, and he is 2-0 in AEW. I did see throughout the night they did show all the stat thing, like, you know, what their stats are, their wins and losses and all that. And I believe this makes Hangman Page 2-2. So that's another thing. They're supposed to be building him up to be one of the future stars of AEW, and oh crap, get my finger on that. They're building him up to be one of the future stars of AEW, and he lost as well, clean. And they recapped the Omega feud with Moxley and showed what Kenny Omega said on being the Elite when he found out Moxley was injured. Less than a week before All Out happened, which that plays an important part later on in the night for the match. So then next up we got a little bit from SCU. We got SCU talking about they were at the White House and Scorpio Sky was talking in a Barack Obama voice, talking about my fellow Americans, and he said a few things, and then after that they went into their whole normal SCU, you know, shtick where they're like, this is the worst town I have ever been in, and you know, all that stuff, and then like they're ripping off the little dress suits they have and all that. Then later on, I think right after they played that, they did an interview with SCU, and SCU, you know, talked about who's going to be the two of the three members representing the team in the tournament, which is going to be Kazarian and Christopher Daniels representing. They're talking about how they are the best tag team in AEW and this and that, and then the Lucha Brothers came out, so we're going to get another Lucha Bros SCU match down the line, and I think, honestly, that's going to be the finals of, you know, the tag tournament. I think it's going to be SCU and the Lucha Bros, which means, honestly, I feel like what's going to happen is everybody's talking about how the Young Bucks might book themselves to be the first tag champs. First of all, I don't think that will happen, especially after what happened in the main event. Secondly, I think with them building up this feud with SCU and the Lucha Bros, I feel like SCU, Lucha Bros should be the finals of the tournament. And either SCU or the Lucha Bros should win. It doesn't matter which team wins first, but to be the first AEW tag champs. But then, after that, whenever they have their next pay-per-view, like maybe they don't have one in December, they might have one in January or February. I think that's when they will put the Young Bucks in the tag team title match. But that'll be the team's first defense. So either SCU or the Lucha Bros. It might be SCU that wins because I don't think the Young Bucks in AEW has wrestled SCU yet. So we might see SCU win the tag tournament at Full Gear, and then either when they do a January or February pay-per-view, AEW, then we'll see the Young Bucks challenge SCU. Now, SCU might still win. I think it might take probably until, I'd say, the next Double or Nothing pay-per-view for the Young Bucks to actually win the tag belts. But really, right now, the only Elite member that's really getting booked strong, real good right now is Cody. Cody, which he's now 3-0 after he beat Sammy Guevara last night. He's going to be facing Jericho. He's probably going to lose to Jericho at Full Gear. But Kenny Omega is like 1-2. The Young Bucks, I think, are 2-1. Hangman Page is 2-2. Yes, all the Elite guys may not be in the title picture until early next year. So, other than Cody, I think a lot of the Elite guys will not be in the title picture until early next year. Then after that, we finally got the match between Riho and Nyla Rose to crown the first ever AEW World Champion. AEW Women's World Champion, my bad. And, you know, just like I predicted after All Out, I said I would not be surprised if they have Riho get the upset over Nyla Rose, which is exactly what happened because she beat her. It was kind of a fluky way she beat her. And Riho was about to be interviewed by Michael Nakazawa after the match, but Nyla Rose beat the crap out of him and then started attacking Riho again, and Kenny Omega ran out there for the save to stop her and all that, and she finally walked away. But yeah, I think I was the only one that predicted that Riho would get the upset, because the way they were playing up how small and how tiny Riho was compared to how big and strong Nyla Rose is, especially with the fact Nyla Rose is a transgender wrestler. But the way they were playing that up, I felt like it was destined for an upset here, which is exactly what happened. And, you know, I'm glad I was right about that. But yeah, that's what I felt was going to happen. So next up, we had the main event, which was the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega taking on Jericho and Ortiz and Santana. LAX still does not have a name in AEW, but that's about to change. I got a little prediction on especially with what happened at the end of the show, that I'm getting ready to get into after I talk about the match. So, the match starts out. First of all, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega come out to the theme song for the Elite, Being the Elite, you know, YouTube show they have on. They come out to that, all three of them. The match was pretty good, but I felt like the match was good, but it was a little overbooked, especially with something that happens in the middle of the match. And then what happened at the end of the match, I felt like it was a little bit overbooked, but not too overbooked like a WWE thing, or it wasn't a Vince Russo type overbooking. But so the Young Bucks knock Jericho and Ortiz and Santana out of the ring. They do their little flips off over the top ropes to hit those guys, and then Kenny Omega's getting ready to do the Rise of the Terminator. But like I said, they showed that video package of where Kenny Omega just totally dissed Jon Moxley on that Being the Elite episode right before the Go Home Being Elite episode, right before freaking All Out. And out of nowhere, here comes Moxley, beats the crap out of Omega. They pan to them fighting in the back. They went, I think they went to like a luxury box, was fighting, because you know how we've seen a lot of table spots in wrestling over the years. Well, there has not been a table spot like this, I don't think, ever in the history of wrestling. If I'm wrong, I apologize for that. But we saw Jon Moxley do the dirty deeds on Kenny Omega through a glass table. A glass table, not a wooden table, a glass table. And like I said, I think this is probably the first glass table spot we've seen. And if we have seen it before, it's been a while since we've seen one. But DDT right through the glass table. And then they go to commercial, and then when they come back, they pan back to the match. The Bucks are on a hot streak. They're taking it to Ortiz and Santana, but Jericho, you know, they got the three-man advantage because Omega's out of the match, so Jericho puts a stop to that, and they throw, I think it was Matt, into Jericho for the Judas Effect elbow, knocks him out. 1, 2, 3. Ortiz and Santana and Jericho win. But that's not all that happened. Right after the match, Jericho, Ortiz, and Santana just keep beating up on the Bucks, just keep beating the crap out of them. Then here comes Cody. And Cody Oh yeah, I forgot to say, in the Cody match, Tony Schiavone was going to interview him after the match. Cody goes to give Tony Schiavone a hug, but Guevara interferes, shakes it to shake the hand, and then he goes to do it again, and then Jericho attacks him. But Cody comes back to get payback on Jericho for what Jericho did earlier in the night to him, and plus beating up his buddies. So it gives them a 3-man advantage, but out of nowhere, here comes Sammy Guevara. Cody turns around, walks toward him. Guevara kicks him in the nuts. Cody goes down, so Guevara, Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz are beating the crap out of the Elite guys. Here comes Dustin down for the save. He's trying to clear the ring, but then, out of nowhere, here comes Jack Hager, attacks frickin' Dustin, and then they just beat the crap out of the Elite guys and Dustin. And then Jericho, he's like about to put all the guys' hands up, but that's how the show ends. It ends on a good cliffhanger. It's gonna have people speculating on what this is. In fact, I'm about to speculate on what this might be, because I think what they're gonna do is Jericho's gonna get his own faction, and I believe a catchphrase he was using when he was in New Japan and he was feuding with Kenny Omega was the Alpha Club catchphrase. It looks like the Alpha Club might become a reality here in AEW, because, you know, Jericho can say, like, next Wednesday, I'm sure he'll come out, he'll talk about it. He'll be like, yes, that's my Alpha Club. And one, I brought them to AEW to show how great I am and how powerful I am, and why y'all should thank Jericho and appreciate Jericho. And then he could say, and the Alpha Club's here to ensure that I keep this AEW World Championship. Now, they may not have him say that directly, because, I mean, how many times has a guy created a faction that was a champion, and he's never straight out said, oh, the only reason why I created this faction was so I could keep this championship longer than I should. I mean, it happened with Ric Flair and the Horsemen. Now, other people, like baby faces or whatever in the past, have said, oh, you know, yeah, these guys are just here to keep the title on you longer than you should have had it. They did it with Evolution, they've done it with the Horsemen, they've done it with the NWO, they've done it with all the great factions in the past. Even the Bullet Club in New Japan, they've done it. So, looks like we're going to have the Alpha Club on AEW Dynamite. And if that is the case, I'm glad that, you know, they're going to give Jericho a faction. I mean, and you look at it, you got the two veteran guys in Jericho and Jack Hager. And I think this is a good way to use Jack Hager, too. You don't want to use him as a main event guy or whatever, because a lot of people feel like he's not main event level. But you use him as the right-hand man for Jericho in this Alpha Club, if it is going to be the Alpha Club. I think that's a good way to use Jack Hager, which is formerly Jack Swagger of WWE, you know. But another reason why they brought Hager in is because of he went to MMA after he left WWE. He's apparently undefeated. I think it's at Bellator or something like that. And they want to bring some MMA guys in to AEW to get some eyes. I mean, heck, last night they had Jay and Silent Bob from the Jay and Silent Bob movie reboot. Kevin Smith, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but I remember Kevin Smith's name because he's been on a lot of other things, and he's done other things other than the Jay and Silent Bob stuff. But, yeah, so, yeah, also while they were interviewing them, and Helico and Jack Evans came out talking trash to them, and then the guy that plays Jay was like, said something, and he's like, you guys ain't even good enough to get a win. But, yeah. So if this is the route they're going with Jericho, and this is the Alpha Club, which I think it's probably going to be, and that's a good way to take a stab at the Bullet Club and all the factions in the past that they've had. And that's a good way to counteract the Undisputed Era on NXT, which I have not got to see last night's NXT episode yet because I mostly watched the AEW show. So I have not seen that. I did not catch Minds MC Tuesday yet either. That's another reason why I didn't do the live yesterday. I have not watched American Horror Story yet either because we had to take a couple people home because they didn't have no other way to get back home unless we took them home. But, so I did not get to see all that yet. I'm going to watch all that today, and then later on, I'm going to do the Facebook Live. I'm going to talk about my thoughts about the Kenny Omega Moxley situation a little bit more. I'm going to talk more about AEW Dynamite on this, on that show. I'll review Minds MC from Tuesday. I'll review American Horror Story from last night, and I'll talk about NXT from last night as well. But I gotta watch all those first. Plus, I'm gonna probably mention Dragon Ball Super because it's coming close to the end. Actually, this Saturday is the final episode. It's the final episode of the final battle of the Tournament of Power. And I haven't watched last Saturday's yet because I recorded it. I am gonna watch it, and I'm going to be talking about all the other wrestling stuff going on in the world of wrestling on that live as well. But overall, I give this show a 4 out of 5. The MJF match really, it upset me and disappointed me that, one, it was that short, and two, if they got MJF in there against Brandon Cutler when they're trying to build him up to be their next big heel, after either Jericho leaves AEW, goes back to WWE, or retires, or whatever. And with Hangman Page, I'm going to talk more about that on the Facebook Live stuff and that too. And a lot of the botches they had in the match, a lot of botches they had on the show. I know it's their first show and that. I will say one thing though, I felt like the announce team was good last night. I thought JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur were all good. I'll talk about that more on the Facebook Live as well. But I thought they were all pretty good last night. And I'll give my reasons why on the Facebook Live. But yeah, the botches, MJF taking on Brandon Cutler, and the main event being a little overbooked is what gives this a 4 out of 5 score. But overall, let me know what you guys thought of AEW Dynamite last night. Did you enjoy it like I did? Did you have some issues with other things that I didn't have issues with last night? Just let me know in the comment section below. Please follow me on my Facebook fan page, Mr. Hornsby83 Show. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Hornsby83. Follow my business page, Trigen Toys, which is also on Facebook. And please like this video, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.